This particular GoPro has definitely seen way better days. It's now got a cracked front lens, the total back screen is all destroyed, and why is that? Well, it's because we're out ripping some RCs. So today on RC Guy Garage, we have got the Horizon Hobby ARRMA VORTEX. I've had this vehicle for quite a while, and it's finally time to take this thing out of the box and see what is so great about the ARRMA VORTEX. Isn't it just like a smaller Big Rock? Yeah, I don't know. Let's find out. 60 plus miles an hour, ARRMA VORTEX, 4x4, 3 SBLX power, and that is 1/10 scale, RTR. Ready to run? Or does that really mean ready to rip? Let's rip open into this box. This is all the familiar stuff that I'm used to seeing with the Big Rock. The Big Rock has literally become one of my all-time favorites for a 3S vehicle from the ARRMA line. Rubber shielded bearings. It does come with the SPEKTRUM DX3 smart remote, which is actually pretty cool. I actually don't mind that remote. Why do I not mind that remote? Well, because it has kind of like that smart technology. Do I use the smart technology? No, I don't. But it does give you the option of 3 power settings, 50, 75, and 100. Obviously, I'm going to run it on 100, but what it does is it gives you the option. And I think that's still a pretty cool option to have. All right, ARRMA VORTEX. Yes, shop's a disaster, but that's literally just the way things are. Yeah, it just happens. All right, so what do we got here? ARRMA VORTEX. This is a brand new RC from ARRMA. Well, brand new to some people, not brand new to others. Basically, this really is, in my mind, it's a Big Rock, but a smaller version, a faster version. It's not as, you know, it's not as long. I don't think it's as wide. It actually has skid plates. All right. Let's see what we got. Oh, look at the color. I actually did opt for this one for a couple of different reasons. Wow, dude, actually, this does look pretty long. So that's all that's in the box. Oh, I can already tell this thing's gonna be mint. Yeah, so it's definitely shorter than the Big Rock, but it's also slung low too, so this is gonna be a pretty cool RC. So let's peel off that plastic right there. Yes, I did get the pink and purple because, in all honesty, this is the car that really stuck out in my mind. The color scheme just seemed to look a little bit better. Inside this box right here, what do we got? We got the DX3, and we have got shock spacers, optional speed pinion gear, and then I have seen yeah, what the heck is that? It's a newly designed wrench, which is definitely funky looking. So, yeah, you know what that looks like. Inside this bag, got a whole bunch of parts. Looks like we do have a speed pinion. They gave us some extra tethers, so you get 4 extra tethers. You got the shock spacers, couple of Allen wrenches, and like I said, it gave you the, yeah, you know what that is.
Go ahead, punk. Make my day.
DX3 is actually a remote that I appreciate and like. It's got a good feel in the hand. It does have a foam grip steering wheel, but it does give you smart technology if you've got the smart packs. It does give the throttle limits, so you got 50, 75, and then 100. Throttle reversing, steer reversing. It gives you AVC. You got brake rate, steering trim, and throttle trim. This is a pretty cool remote. Also gives you a 3rd channel, but I'm not sure what that 3rd channel is for. It's definitely not for this vehicle. It'd be interesting to know if the receiver in there is the 3-channel receiver. And it does also give you a bind button. Power buttons on the back. It does seem like this power button operates correctly. I know that some of these SPEKTRUM DX3s were having issues with the power button. Earl Moorhead had one, and I also have one too. I just haven't addressed the issue. But this definitely feels like it's repaired. Yeah, it's a good little remote. All right. open up the Vortex here. You can see I got a couple of batteries checking. They're not smart packs. They are what they are. But we're actually going to race this thing against this. So this is the LOSI Tenacity DB PRO. Rockin' hell yeah brother Hoons silver tires. And this vehicle right here is running on 3S. Has a 15 tooth pinion. And we're going to see, does this vehicle have heavyweight, have what it takes to take on the light, well not so lightweight, ARRMA Big Rock, ARRMA Vortex. I think it might. Alright, so what do we got here? BLX motor, we've got a SPEKTRUM 3200 kV motor. There is an issue with these 3200 kV motors. I'm really hoping and praying that this motor doesn't have the issues that this warranty motor had. So this is the one that came in my ARRMA Big Rock, which you can see, it's a 3200 kV. It's the exact same motor that is in this vehicle. And these things are plagued with a front bearing issue. I'm really hoping that this vehicle doesn't have that issue. As far as this platform goes, it's just a smaller, faster Big Rock. It does come with a SPEKTRUM, so it does come with, right there you can see, the Firma 100 amp smart waterproof ESC, which is capable of 2 and 3S. That's why I'm saying it'll be a good test between this motor and ESC combination versus what's in the DB Pro. That's what I want to see. It's got a waterproof servo, SPEKTRUM, SPM S651, Metal Gear digital servo, 15% more torque, and obviously it does have the 3660 motor, which is the one that has the issues. I just hope it doesn't have the issues, so hopefully, yeah, we'll be good. What else do I say about this car? Other than shocks feel like they have a ultra lightweight fluid in them. Back feels a little bit stiffer. It does feel pretty plush. Front definitely feels a lot more, well, weaker isn't the right word, but the front definitely has a lot more easier travel than the rear. The rear definitely has something else going on here. I don't know if it's shock angle or what's going on, but there's a little bit more pressure that's applied to this rear. Could even be the spring rate. There's no shims installed in front or back. So I guess this thing is ready to go. It does have the D-Boots Guitar tires and wheels on it, which are a directional pattern style tread tire. Does have a motor fan, which is important, and obviously the SPEKTRUM ESC is going to have its own fan. The switch itself looks like it's in a real easy access spot or location. It does have the IC5 connectors, not EC5, but an EC5 connector. But an EC5 connector will connect right up to it. Being the owner and operator of a Big Rock and thoroughly abusing that Big Rock, there are a couple of known things that you might want to think about or consider for this ARRMA Vortex. And I want to say that possibly because this is the same type of vehicle using the same parts, you're going to want to go ahead and at least order a spur gear. Probably stay with the plastic. Some people go with the metal. If you go with the metal, you're going to have to get an additional shim pad because to take up the extra thickness, the metal gear itself is actually slightly thinner, so you have to have that extra shim pad or slipper pad to take up that additional thickness loss. Additional thickness loss. It kind of seems like a conundrum. The other thing that I've noticed about the ARRMA Big Rock, at least, is that drive shafts. Drive shafts are definitely a wear component. They do eventually snap. Mine did take a considerable amount of abuse before I had any issues. The other issue that you may come across is the rear end. So the rear end of mine, meaning the pinion and the ring gear, it's what it's called. Some people call it an input shaft. You call it what you call it, but it's still a ring and pinion. Those do have a tendency to eventually wear out. Now, I want to say that mine was deserved because of how many smiles for miles that I had put on my Big Rock, and I expect the same exact thing from this Vortex. The only thing is that is this VORTEX that much faster than the Big Rock? That's another thing we're going to find out. ARRMA VORTEX versus the ARRMA Big Rock. Which one is really, truly faster? This one says 60. I think the Big Rock says like 55. So, yeah. The other thing that I seem to have an issue with on my Big Rock was these ball ends. So basically what I did is I ordered up a set of hot racing ball ends. Not for this vehicle. I ordered it for the Big Rock. And I'm assuming this is probably going to be the same thing, but time will tell. I'll order up a set anyway, that way I have a set on hand. If you get the hot racing ones, you can get them in red. I don't know if there's any other colors available, but yeah, red will be all right. Kind of offset the bubblegum body that we got here. That actually looks pretty cool, man. That is a slick body. The color scheme on this one, I don't mind the pink and purple. My wife is probably going to end up driving this anyway, but yeah. Everything is packaged very tightly, so you can see there's really not much room between the switch, the servo, the wires. Gonna want to make sure you're careful. There is a wire guide here, but I don't find that this wire is gonna have an issue with the drive shaft like the Big Rock. With the Big Rock, people were having issues with this section of the wire rubbing on the drive shaft because of the additional length of the chassis and where the ESC was mounted. The motor wires themselves, go ahead and, for some reassurance, get some heat shrink tubing and do this. Do what I did with my DB Pro. This is heat shrink tubing that's just slipped over. It's not even heat shrinked. It's just providing additional insulation between the wires so they don't chafe. My Big Rock had an issue with its BLX ESC, but it really wasn't the BLX ESC that was the issue. In reality, what it was the chafing of the motor wires. It's definitely something that you're going to want to check. If you just grass drive, maybe you don't have to worry about it, but if you're as hard as I am on the ARRMA Big Rock, this VORTEX is only going to take the same abuse, and the heat shrink tubing that's on those motors, on those motor wires, are probably going to suffer the same issue. And that's literally just a chafing back and forth of the wires. It's what happens. It's something to keep an eye out on. So let's throw a battery in this thing, throw a GPS on it, take it out to the street, and we'll see how fast is the ARRMA VORTEX. So we got the battery. It does have the Velcro system, which I really like. The other thing you have to be careful of, and I'm being honest with you guys, I'm not sure if it's going to happen with this chassis, but with the Big Rock chassis, my Big Rock chassis cracked right in this area right here. And why is that? Because I was using a recommended hard case lipo. Problem with the hard case lipo is on those chassis slaps. What do you think is happening? These sections are usually hitting first. And the chassis itself eventually is going to be a breaking point. Mine fractured right here on my Big Rock, basically followed the A, and it fractured right in this area right here. So keep an eye on that. Maybe even take a layer of foam and stick a layer of foam inside your VORTEX if you're really going to bash it hard. Plug it in for the first time. Hit the power button. Both fans are working. It's a good sign. Controller takes 4 AA batteries. Make sure they're not junked up. 4 AA batteries. Mode on. Looks good. Truck on. Looks like the steering is slightly off. We'll be able to fix that with the steering trim. Seems like it's good. All right, good to go. So I'll see you guys outside with the ARRMA VORTEX. Let's see what this thing can really do. All right, so we get the GNS, the SkyRC GPS data logging unit or data analyzer installed into the ARRMA VORTEX. Just turned it on. It shouldn't take long to register satellites, provided it charged long enough, and it looks like it did turn on. it was pretty much dead because I haven't used it in quite a while. So yeah, GPS on, and I even know where the 132 feet is. Not that that matters, but there is a curiosity to know this ARRMA VORTEX, how fast can this thing really go? So power on the remote first. The switch is very easily accessible by stuffing your finger under here. This is bad. It's not as easy as I thought it was. You just go your finger at the side right there, turn it on, and that's one of the things that I do like about SPEKTRUM. Tells you that it's actually connected. So it looks like we have 0 satellites for now, so I guess I'll just drive around for a little bit until we get some satellites registered. Right off, massive amount of tow in the rear end of this truck. Not that that really matters because this is off-road, but I'm also looking at a huge amount of camber in the rear as well. So looks like on the right hand side on the rear looks to be a little bit more camber than on the left side, so I will have to go check that out. As far as being straight, so we got the passenger side rear wheel and the driver's side front wheel. Those seem to have a little bit of an issue. Issue meaning you can see that there's a little bit of a wobble to the wheels. So let's see what the GPS is saying. 8 satellites. So I've got a clicking noise. Hear that? So there's a weird click. So I'm not sure what that clicking noise is. So look at that front wheel. Look how wobbly that front wheel is. So right off, either the axle's bent, and this hasn't even driven. So the driver's side front wheel, there's a possibility that my axle's bent or the wheel. I have to check that out. So there is a way that I can check that out. So I am actually going to do a 132-foot drag on this thing first. You can see, got 132 right there. The VORTEX is ready to go. Did I call it a big rock? I don't think I did. So start. Looks like it's ready to go. And let's see what this thing can do at 132 feet. The noise is funky coming from that thing. So read. So at 132 feet, we have 3.35 at 44 miles per hour. That's not too shabby. So I'm going to do it one more time just to kind of see. I know this isn't a drag car, but still want to see. That sound is kind of... I'm not liking that sound, man. Hopefully that's not going to be an issue. Start. We'll give it a rip. Oh, it had a cutoff. That thing literally power cut on me. I didn't let off on the trigger. It power cut. Wonder why it did. At least it felt like a power cut. Read. You can see it power cut. That's what's nice about that. I didn't let off on the trigger. That's what's nice about that. So that thing just did a power cut on me. This is the second rip. What's up with that? All right. Drag. Now bring it over. It does have a funky sound, man. It literally sounds rear end based. That's not going to be cool. Start. We'll do it again. I'm going to literally just full trigger it. Oh, look it. What's going on? That's full trigger. And I am at 100%. That's full trigger 100%. Wow. What is up with this? This ain't cool. There's no way this thing is hot. ESC's fine. Motor's cold. Huh. I'm gonna shut it off. Power it up again. Alright, we'll see what happens now. I don't like that power cut. So we'll read that just so you can see. That was literally me full triggering. Alright. I'm gonna line it up. Cancel. Drag. Power's obviously back because it did the reset. There's an issue with the gears. There's some funky noise going on in there. Start. Literally just going to full trigger it, and we'll see what happens. What happens? A power cut literally at 132 feet. I'm full trigger right now. I did not let off on the trigger, and I also didn't steer it either. Look at, I'm full trigger. Wow, this ain't cool. I don't know what's going on. That is not cool. All right, so we have 40 miles per hour, and you can see literally where the power cut off. So I don't know what's going on with that. She's just like, look at a little boy playing with his toy. So we got 40 miles per hour and 3.3 seconds. But you can literally see on the graph, you can see the power cut, man. Ah, man. Did I get a dud? All right, I don't know. Yeah. That ain't cool. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna have to take this thing apart and see what's going on. I'm not happy with that at all. Big Rock literally would have just blown this thing. It would have spanked this car big time. I don't know. Man, did I get a dud of a VORTEX? I better not have. RC Guy Garage out. Man, did I get a dud of a VORTEX? I better not have. RC Guy Garage out.